Oh, yes.
Welcome back once again, everyone. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Generation Selects number 12, and this is the Decepticon Greasepit. For those not in the know, Greasepit is a retool of the Autobot modulator Ironworks, this time altered to turn into a gas station rather than, well, an ironworks. The character himself is actually named after the original Micromaster that came with that gas station playset, but with the modulators, they're reimagining the playsets as their own Transformers and giving them the names of their previous Micromaster denizens. Now, I touched on this in Exhaust review, but just kind of summarize again. This toy has not been officially announced as of recording this. Now, these two Selects toys were introduced to the world via an eBay auction that had them for 30 bucks a piece. I opted not to get it because I was pretty sure that they were stolen, and I'm pretty sure those copies were still. But then they popped up on the online retailer Megalopolis Toys, and I so far have no reason to believe that they would mess around with stolen product. It seemed pretty legit. So I got these from there. So there seems to be some sort of a breakdown with Hasbro between them distributing these to retailers and actually announcing them, which wouldn't be the first time that's happened. So with that out of the way, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging, we'll open it up, we'll look at Greasepit's instructions, and then the character himself in his several different base configurations, as well as robot mode. Naturally, I'll be comparing him to Ironworks today, and having a little bit of fun with the whole modulator concept. And then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Greasepit comes in your standard Selects packaging that's centered around War for Cybertron. Big old Autobot symbol, branding, all that fun stuff. There's his label, number 12, and that's about it. Nothing else exciting about the box. They're very minimalist. Now to open them up, hold up, got your normal inner graphics there. And then here's Greasepit himself. You can see he's very vibrantly colored, especially compared to Ironworks. Mostly yellow, blue, gray, and red. So interesting colors. You see the Decepticon symbol. He does have the same head as Ironworks, which is a little disappointing, but the trade-off is that he gets these new little gas pump attachment things here instead of the hook hand. And it's hard to see, but he comes with a little sign for the gas station that is just attached to his shoulder right now. It's pretty neat. Here you get instructions. Let's see, his Greasepit. Go ahead and open this up. And there's a breakdown of his parts. Here's transformation from robot to, what's that? That's just the breakdown part, okay. Transformation to the main gas station mode. Here you have an alternate setup, which gives him some sort of like a ramp configuration, which is pretty neat. And then over here, he gets yet another base mode. Now, interestingly, these instructions don't show off any kind of armor or weapon mode like Ironworks has. So that's odd. They just kind of left it out entirely in favor of giving you, I guess, more options for the base mode transformation. Now, fear not, obviously he, being a moderate retool, can still achieve that same armor up mode that Ironworks can. So not a total loss, just if you don't own Ironworks, you may not know how to do that transformation because you don't have the instructions. All right, now that we have Greasepit out in front of us, I've gone ahead and just broken him down into his component parts. So we're gonna do this kind of like Legos, right? You got the blocks. So the first thing I'm going to create is the standard gas station mode, which is very similar to the standard base mode for Ironworks, with a few things moved around. So, firstly, you're going to start out, take the feet here, and you take his little arm that's curled up into a square, plug it in the holes on the kneecaps, create just a nice little road, like so. You're going to take his pelvic area, and I'd recommend lifting the little leg nubs up a little so not in the way. You're going to plug them onto here, like so. And go ahead and kind of flatten them out as much as they'll go. Not worry about clearance. This little ramp plugs into the front, like so. All right, looking pretty familiar so far, right? So, take this. Gonna take a little gun base thing here, we're gonna call it. Gonna take this. Still looking familiar. Now this is where things start to differ. So the crane arm, instead of plugging in the top of this or whatever, you're actually gonna plug it into this hole right here, which I never noticed on Ironworks, but that hole didn't seem to serve any kind of purpose on that version of the toy. So it looks like this whole remold had been planned out for a while. Now the reason I've gone and attached everything like this already is because it makes it much easier to attach it to the bottom level here. So you're just gonna kind of take it and just press it all down at once. And it just really helps it all plug in better. And you take the new sign piece, plug it in right here. Then the gas pumps, take these tabs and actually go in right there. And there it is. This is the gas station mode. Pretty simple, but it works. It actually, for the most part, looks very much like the original. Biggest difference being that the gas pumps are on this side rather than right here. But the overall layout's pretty much the same, so it's a really clever way to get two uses out of the same base mold. You can see the stickers right here. They're very Matchbox-like. The cartoony windows there. Your Super Gasoline, the Z1 sign right there. Very much reminds me of one of the old Micro Machines play sets or something like that. Which, is kind of the idea. And of course, you can take a little Micromaster like this guy and just, play around, drive him around here. It doesn't have a lot of open road space because this blocks a lot of what is normally, road space on Ironworks. But you have some points to connect this, right? You have a ramp that can connect here and here, connect here, even here. So once you, build this up with other modulators and larger transformers, this becomes actually a pretty neat little pit stop there along the way. So I dig it. And here for comparison is Ironworks in his standard base mode. And you can see, again, the bottom level is pretty much the same. Biggest difference being the crane placement. So, they both end up looking like two very different play sets, which is perfect. That's the idea of an effective retool, right? Make you feel like you're getting two toys in one. And because of the obvious color differences, that really helps, differentiate them too. Even the roads aren't the same shade of gray, so it really doesn't feel samey at all. All right, now this next configuration is a slight modification of one of Ironworks' alternate base modes that's actually not shown in Ironworks' instructions, but it was shown in renders of the toy. So luckily this time around we actually get instructions for the mode. So, first thing you want to do, you're going to take the main torso piece, you're going to take his feet, put them together and upside down, you're going to plug the torso into the feet like so. Get them nice and straight and even. Flip the panels down on his legs. You're going to take the flat road piece here and just press it down like that. You're building a tower. You take the pelvic piece, plug it into the front like so, rotate this leg stump upwards, and actually going to bring the scoop up and out. So you're going to flip it down and forward like this. See that? Take this peg, flip it up. You're going to take his little arm square thing, plug it into this peg on the top, straighten it out, like so. And now you're going to take the crane arm here, like that. Go ahead and recombine his little gun thing. Plug it into the top of the crane. And plug that onto here. All the way on there. Like so. You're going to take the sign. You're going to plug that into the screw hole here, which is the first time I've seen you utilize that. So just get in there. straighten it out. And then lastly, take the gas pumps and just put them right here. I don't think they really serve a purpose, just somewhere to put them. Alright, so kind of straighten everything out. And there you go. Here's the alternate base. Now, this configuration doesn't have any history with Greasepit. This is purely based on the alternate configuration for the original Ironworks toy. So, let's go ahead and put a Micromaster on here. Make it look cool. If it'll fit, it's kind of back heavy. There you go. Leaning forward, but you get the idea. Lots of interactivity. Here's the Ironworks version, just so you can see how they're alike, how they differ. Yeah, and the only real difference is this area down here. You get, pump piece as opposed to a hook. You get the extra sign, and that's really it. Everything else works the exact same way. Now this next setup's a little confusing because of the way the instructions are. If you look here, okay, we start building some sort of a road, right? You get about that far, and then here it has you backtrack as you detach this road piece that you just attached and then flip it around. Doesn't really make any sense. I think the reasoning for this is when you look up to about this step, it seems to be having you build the basic bridge configuration that Ironworks could do and that his instructions showed off. And then they have you kind of, veer off into something else and have to correct down the road. So I think that's what happened there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the basic bridge configuration, just to see that. It's not much to look at. And then I'll go ahead and shift to this other one. So let's do that. So the way you do this per Ironworks' instructions, we're going to take this leg, it has the panel facing off to the left, lift that up. Take your road piece, and you're going to attach it with this connector facing forward, like so. Take your pelvic piece, attach that, and then take your other leg, flip the panel up, and attach the pelvic piece. And that's it. This is the bridge, and it's not very sturdy. It just kind of tends to sag, and not much you can do unless you go ahead and attach other bits of road at various points to kind of help support it. Admittedly, this is by far the weakest mode that this mold can achieve. But it is official, so I figured I'd cover it. Quick look at the Ironworks version 2 for completion's sake. And just not very exciting. They're just, they're bridges. Now to finish the conversion of the proper base mode, what I'm going to do is detach this leg here, take these, take it off, and then just flip it around, put it back. And you're going to take your main torso piece, hold it upside down, and you're going to attach the knees to it via the 5mm ports until you have this. Now you want to pull his thighs out a little bit. Just stick a little more than Ironworks. Alright, and you want to position them in a way to where they kind of create a flush surface here. That's what you're going for. Over here on this long ramp, you're going to connect it to the arm square, as I like to call it. Get it on there. Alright, then we're going to pull this peg out. It's on the front of the scoop here. Alright, get that. Take the crane arm, plug it in, use that as kind of a structural support, like so. And we're going to take his gun assembly, combine it, plug it in right here via this hole. Get it in there nice and straight. And lastly, take your sign and your gas pumps, and plug the gas pumps into the side of the sign, like so. And then you're going to plug all that into this hole here on the end. Straighten it out. Oh, my sticker's coming off already. That's not good. I have to be careful. Yeah, be careful not to rub at the edge of that sticker. It'll start to come off, turns out. All right. You're supposed to straighten this to a point where these pieces are, parallel to the ground, and then this is like a straight ramp with this being on the ground. And there you go. That is the extended base mode. And it's interesting, it's different. Not sure how practical it is, because you just kind of like a flimsy ramp that leads to a drop off. And you got a dead end over here where the gas station is. No way to like drive off or anything. But it's something, it looks okay. And here's the Ironworks version. Now normally we wouldn't know exactly where all of the pieces on this are supposed to go because it wasn't covered in his instructions. However, there is a render of the Astro Squad Micromaster team that utilizes this configuration of Ironworks to show them off. And from that we learned that his little hook piece goes right down here facing up. And structurally that's the only difference, just where that hook goes vice the other accessories. This I find to be a little more practical because it doesn't dead end here. You can actually connect some road and keep going. So I think in this case, Ironworks wins out on this configuration. Now, before we get to the robot mode, there's one more thing we want to take a look at. It's not covered in the instructions, and I assume that was to make room for showing off the alternate base modes. But we're going to do our best to show off what should be Greasepit's Weaponizer mode. So the first thing you want to do, you're going to take his feet, lay them out with the actual feet pointing outwards, lift these panels up, you're going to make little boots out of that, set aside. Go ahead and take his torso piece and bring his crane arm thing all the way down. Bring this peg up like so. Set that aside. You're going to take his pelvis piece here, and you're going to take the ramp, connect them together, and get it to where this bit points straight forward, and this one points straight up. Just kind of out of the way. That's going to be a shield. Now you take the arm square TM, configure it into like an L shape, like this. Take this peg, fold it inwards, like so. And then you want to take the crane arm, attach it to the top, take your cannon thing, combine it, put it on top of that. Now, as far as these two, because there are no instructions for this mode for Greasepit, it's kind of up in the air where these are going to go. Now, you got some options. This won't fit facing upwards, but you can point it down, attach it that way if you want to. And then the sign, well, heck, you can just put it right here, I guess. Just attach along the side there, kind of puts it out of the way. That would be my best guess for how this is supposed to go, but who knows, they might have something completely different in mind. So now we got these armor pieces, well, who do we attach it to? Well, for today's video, we're going to use Exhaust, the other Generation Selects toy that released alongside Greasepit. It also works out because Wheeljack is the sample toy for Ironworks, so him being a real Wheeljack, it's like the stars are aligned. It's perfect. All right, now in his case, for clearance reasons, you want to swing his little back wings down into a spoiler position like that. So you go ahead, take little booties, attach on the bottoms of his feet, get them on there, and that gives him a little height boost, which is something that weaponizers are pretty known for. Create little boots for their partners. All right, this scoop thing, I'm just going to plug into his shoulder, form, I don't know, some kind of scooping weapon, deadly scooping weapon of scoopiness. This bit is going to plug into the other arm to form like a blast shield. kind of silly one, but it works. And then attach this whole configuration to his back via the hole right in the middle. And you end up with this. And again, this is my best approximation. These accessories may be intended to have a different configuration. And the way I have them may not be right because they do kind of create a clearance issue with this piece right here. Not a big one, but you know, it could conceivably get in the way. So just something to be mindful of. It's possible to have that be an issue. Maybe you want to attach them here instead or something, I don't know. But this works for my purposes, I like it. And you know, it's just like Ironworks. I feel that he makes a better Micromaster base than he does a Weaponizer. You know, he's not a very heavily armed bot like the Siege Weaponizers are. And therefore, a lot of his stuff just comes off looking kind of silly. Like, why do you need a scoop arm thing? Doesn't make much sense. But it's added playability. You can't really hate on it. If you don't like the Weaponizer mode, you know, just ignore it. Here's our Autobot equivalent in the form of Wheeljack. And you see, it just works out really well having these two wielding the two different versions of this base mold. I like the way it comes off overall. So what do you think? Which one of these two do you think looks better? Okay, now for the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to do the robot mode. So go ahead and flip his thighs out, which may give you a hard time. Mine like to stick a bit. So get those out. Take his pelvis piece, attach it to the legs. Sure it's in there all the way, like so. You take the torso, grab the head, pull it all the way up, turn it around. Connect the torso to lower body. You're going to take this road piece, and the instructions have you get this connector facing to his left. So just connect it via the top holes there. We're going to go ahead and attach his gas pumps to the crane arm. Rotate this around like so. Attach that. Attach his regular arm. Now for the sign, that's going to go on the regular arm. Be worn kind of like a shield. Man, this sticker is really peeling already. Not a good sign. Be very careful with your sticker, folks. So I apparently have been a little careless with rubbing the edges of mine. Alright, and then just like Ironworks, take his cannon doohickey, plug it into the other shoulder, like so. And here you go. This is Greasepit's robot mode. And, you know, if you've seen Ironworks, you're not going to see anything strikingly different here. You know, he's got the new accessories, different color, and that's about it. Which is fine. I mean, this is a Selects toy. They don't tend to have a lot of differences from their, you know, their base molds. And, you know, because of the designers getting pretty creative with the base configurations, it works really well as a stand-in for the old gas pump Micromaster base. Now, unlike Ironworks, we don't have a current figure of this base's Micromaster, who was, you know, formerly known as Greasepit, probably carry a different name now, seeing as Ironworks' Micromaster was renamed to Irontread to differentiate them. Speaking of Ironworks, here he is, just so he's not left out. So I don't know if we're gonna get this guy's Micromaster. I have a feeling we're not. I mean, he is a Selects release, so that already kind of makes it a bit less likely. But also, Earthrise is kind of coming to a close. You know, there might be some more Micromasters that we don't know about yet, but wouldn't get my hopes up on getting a partner for this guy unless they do like another multi-pack or something. Which is where, you know, Irontread came from. It's possible. Yeah, it might show up, maybe. I'm already about 90% sure that after Earthrise, the Micromasters are going away for at least a year. because the Chapter 3, which I won't spoil too much in case they want to announce it here on Friday, doesn't look like it's going to have MicroMasters. They're going a pretty different direction with Chapter 3 of War for Cybertron. But we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there will be more. I would be okay with that, personally. I think we are severely lacking on getting updates for, you know, the complete teams and missing members of these bases, things like that. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now that I've babbled on forever, let's get to the final thoughts. I like this guy a lot. He doesn't seem to have any of the QC issues that Exhaust does. The stickers, I know a lot of people have kind of rolled their eyes and groaned about the stickers. I think they work really well on here. I think they work a lot better than the Power of the Prime stickers, which were, you know, those very sloppily applied foil stickers. These are much more spot on. I do have concerns with rubbing on the sign one, because like I said, I was kind of peeling the edges of that a little bit just by messing with it. So just be careful, and as long as, you know, you are mindful not to rub against that, it should be fine. The window stickers, I don't think you're gonna have really any issues with them. Not much rubbing going on with them. They're kind of held in place pretty well by these ridges. His color scheme is, it kind of hurts the eyes, but it's accurate. So I can't really hate on it. You know, it just carries that very plastic look, that very Micro Machines, you know, late 80s, early 90s, bright colors kind of motif. So it is what it is. I think it's silly for him to have gas pumps for a hand. Like, I mean, I get it, Ironworks has a hook for a hand, but a hook is at least conceivably a weapon. Unless maybe this guy's gas pumps explode. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's like a grenade launcher and they blow up. Who knows? I think it's neat that they did bother to give him the sign, because I feel the total package would have been really lacking without that extra piece. So I'm glad they didn't just do a one-for-one part swap, but actually have an extra accessory there. Now, again, I don't know what the official release date or channels for this guy will be once Hasbro announces him, but I personally would recommend picking it up. You know, you can never get enough modulators. If you want to build up that really cool MicroMaster base, you're going to want more guys. And rather than buying just a bunch of the same, you know, having like 5 Ironworks like some people do, this gives you some variety. So for me, I would say absolutely pick them up whenever you can find them. And now, having said my piece, I want to know what you all think of this guy. Do you have any desire to pick him up? Do you think he's better or worse than Ironworks, or, you know, just different? Do you see any flaws with him? Anything you would change? Anything you don't like? Anything you especially do like? Any and all feedback is welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know that you enjoy seeing this content. If you want to see more of it, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the new modulator character, Greasepit. And with all that said, I will see you next time.